Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is the first official video of my channel and I'm really excited to discuss the topic I'm discussing today, which is One Piece. And yeah, I was supposed to do Hunter x Hunter and I'm still working on Hunter x Hunter content, but after reading chapter 997, I was so excited to make a video that I wanted to discuss some theories that I have about what may happen in regards to Zoro and Kaido. So if you're interested in hearing about that, stay tuned because I'm going to discuss that in a second. But first, like I said before guys, I do have Hunter x Hunter content on the way. I am a huge Hunter x Hunter fan. So if you guys like Hunter x Hunter as much as I do, definitely want to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see what I have to say. The video that I have in the works is going to be about Gon and what his future may be in the series. So if you're interested in hearing about that, definitely stay tuned. But without further ado, let's get into it. And real quick, for the anime only watchers, this video will contain spoilers. So I repeat, this video will contain spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you've been warned. Let's get into it. Like I said guys, chapter 997 was incredible. And I have to start with the guy who was the most impressive in this chapter, and that has to be Zoro. I mean, my god man. A lot of people were trolling with the Apoo thing, and it was really bothering me because even I was like, these people can't be serious. Do they really think Apoo is stronger than Zoro? You know, you had that scene, I forget what chapter it was specifically, but Apoo blocked Luffy and Zoro and knocked out both Luffy and Zoro, and I never bought into it, but people took a lot of stock out of those panels, you know. But Oda Oda, oh my goodness, that was amazing to see Zoro one-shot him. At least to this point, we don't know whether he was one-shotted or maybe he'll come back. I have to say, that was impressive. But what stuck out to me was not the moment with Apoo. What stuck out to me most in this chapter were the events that unfolded with Zoro talking to Queen. And he said something very interesting that really got me thinking and really got me excited to make this video. The original scanlations, he said, I quote, "I came here to cut down Kaido, the one who is known as the strongest in the world," which was pretty crazy. And today the Viz official translation came out and he says this, and I quote, "They say Kaido's the toughest guy in the world, so I'm here to slice him into pieces." I thought that was very significant. For one, it's very different than the initial scanlation quote, but to slice him into pieces, that's pretty heavy. Like, we all have to agree, that's pretty intense. You know, I've heard a lot of people mention in their reviews, like, normally Zoro doesn't gun for the top dog, but to see him kind of gunning for Kaido at the same time with Luffy is really interesting. And I don't think that Oda would have Zoro say that if he wasn't going to take action and it wasn't going to be impactful for the future. And I think he left us a few breadcrumbs, if you will, in regards to what may occur between Kaido and Zoro. So I want to get into a few things that I'm interested in or seeing unfold. So going back to Zoro, what do we know? We know that Zoro wields Enma. So Enma is one of the two blades that actually was capable of cutting Kaido. Someone who we know is the strongest creature alive. Someone we know who is seemingly indestructible. And he wields one of the blades that is known to have cut Kaido, like I said. Also, what do we know? The other blade, Ame no Habikiri, no one has right now. It's tucked away. So going back, before I get into that blade, because I have a crazy theory about that blade that I'm going to talk about in a second, but going back to Enma. So Enma, what facts do we have on Enma? So we know that Enma was forged by legendary swordsmith Shimotsuki Kozaburo. So if you guys don't know, Shimotsuki is actually one of the families of Wano country. He ended up fleeing to the East Blue and he fathered a child, and his son was Koshiro. So maybe many of you forgot, but Koshiro is actually Zoro's sensei and the father of Kuina, the childhood friend of Zoro. So things are coming full circle. So it was almost destined that Zoro ended up with Enma. Enma was also described by Hitetsu as being able to cut through the bottom of hell. Enma possessed incredible power, and no one else was capable of wielding Enma except for Oden. So Oda is also hinting that Zoro has possibly conqueror's haki because he is able to tame Enma and not allow Enma to absorb incredible amounts of haki, like from him. You know, like Enma absorbs haki from its user. So he is capable of controlling Enma. And we saw before the raid on Onigashima, Zoro training and becoming stronger with Enma. So again, like a lot of us speculate that we haven't seen Zoro at his full potential. We haven't seen his ultimate attack, Ashura. We haven't seen anything from Zoro. So this just makes me excited hearing him talk about cutting down Kaido, because I think that he is going to play a crucial role in bringing down Kaido. I don't believe that he's going to defeat Kaido, because obviously Luffy has to also play a major factor in that, but I think Zoro will be a key component in bringing down Kaido. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking like, okay, well, tell us something we don't know, because everything you said we've heard or we may know already. Well, guys, here's where my theory gets really crazy and maybe a little far-fetched, but hear me out, guys. Before you say I'm crazy and you click off the video, just hear me out. So I think both blades are important when it comes to defeating Kaido. I don't think Enma is enough to really bring down the Titan, the monster, the incredibly indestructible, hard-hitting Kaido by itself. I think you need both blades to really do damage. So maybe you're wondering, okay, well, what's going to happen with Ame no Habikiri? And I think that blade is going to be wielded by none other than Yamato. Now hear me out. I know many of you are like, no way, why would Yamato use that sword? Or we've never seen Yamato even use a sword. Like, she's never even mentioned the sword. So why would this be a thing? Well, here's my theories on why I think Yamato may wield that sword. For one, she idolizes Kozuki Oden, so much so that she identifies herself as Kozuki Oden. We know that she's also willing to sacrifice her life and do whatever she can possible to protect Momonosuke. So again, this is total speculation, but we also know that she is an incredibly strong warrior. Now, we've never seen her use a sword in combat, but who's to say that she can't? She uses a club and she's very skilled. In fact, we've seen her use an attack, the same attack that her father used on Gear 4th Luffy. So what if she's able to mimic other or copy fighting styles? I mean, this is speculation. We don't know, but what if that is a thing? Also, another interesting fact here, guys, samurai, yes, samurai used clubs in feudal Japan during combat. Samurais were well versed in using many different types of weapons, and clubs were one of the weapons that they used during combat. So, you know, she's a samurai, Oden was a samurai. Maybe, just maybe, she is capable of using a sword in battle. I don't think we can kind of just like write it off and say like it's not possible. I think Oda, you never know with Oda, so I think it could be a possibility, and I think it would be fitting, being as though she idolizes Oden. So what would be a great honor for her? A great honor for Yamato would be to wield one of his blades and able to defeat her father, the man that killed him. I think it would kind of be poetic in a way. So maybe you guys are wondering like, okay, well, how would this happen? But before I get into how would she end up with the sword, I want to discuss another thing, the folktale Yamato. So there's many similarities between this Yamato in One Piece and the fairy tale Yamato. Folktale Yamato was a male who dressed as a female to surprise his enemies, whereas One Piece Yamato is a female who dresses as a male because she is inspired by Oden, which is, I think, is interesting, a small little nugget, but it's a similarity there. Fairy Tale Yamato receives a sword. Now, the name of his sword is Ame no Murakumo no Tsurugi. Now, this weapon is very similar in name to Ame no Habikiri, although the literal translation is a bit different. Now, the literal translation of Folktale Yamato's sword is Heavenly Sword of Gathering Clouds, whereas the literal translation of One Piece Yamato's sword is Snake Slayer of Heaven. So maybe you guys are like, well, okay, it has like the heaven part in the name, but I don't really get the similarities. Now, catch this. The Fairy Tale Yamato's sword came from Susanoo. Susanoo wielded the same sword, and that sword was used to kill Orochi, who was an 8-headed snake monster. Just like One Piece, there's Orochi. Now, many of us speculate that Orochi is still alive and not actually dead. That's a theory. Who knows? Maybe he is dead. But assuming that Orochi is still alive, maybe Yamato in this story will be the one to actually slay Orochi. So I thought that was interesting, just trying to research and find connections on where Oda might be going with this character. Another interesting thing that I found was we all speculate that Yamato of One Piece may have some sort of transformation. She may be a dragon, or she could be something else. We don't know. The information is not there yet. But an interesting nugget about Folktale Yamato is after he died, he transformed into a great bird, some sort of bird-like creature. So maybe this Yamato will have a similar transformation. But again, we don't know. But I do believe that Yamato will end up with Amino Habikiri, or could end up. I shouldn't say will, because again, I don't know what Oda will do to this point, but I just thought it was interesting. I really thought about that as like, hey, this could be a thing. Now, how could she end up with the sword? Well, we all know she is with Momonosuke, and at the end of chapter 997, we seen Kaido literally lift Onigashima off the ground, and apparently he's moving Onigashima to the mainland of Wano. Here's my prediction on what I think may actually happen. We know that Luffy is headed to the roof as we speak, and I think maybe Zoro will eventually end up at the roof. I think a battle between Zoro, Luffy, and maybe a few other characters will ensue. Possibly Zoro cuts Kaido a little bit or really damages Kaido, but ultimately they fail, they lose horribly, and that's going to be the end of Act 3. So resuming in Act 4, so after the horrible loss, our heroes regroup and come up with a strategy to try to take down Kaido. Maybe they saw that Zoro was capable of cutting Kaido, and eventually Momonosuke and Yamato end up with Hitetsu. Yamato finds out about Oden's sword and requests to use the sword to bring down Kaido, and her and Zoro deals exponential damage to Kaido, and then possibly Luffy comes in with the final blow, maybe unveils a new transformation, a new form, a new level of haki, and they kind of knock out Kaido. I don't know if he's going to die, and maybe I should save this for another video, because there's a lot of speculation about Kaido's character, that he wants death. He's attempted suicide, he couldn't be killed when he was at execution. It's interesting to debate whether Kaido will actually die at the end of this arc. I think it's a huge possibility, although we know Oda doesn't really kill off characters, but this seems to be a theme with Kaido's character. So again, I don't know, but these are just a few fun little theories that I have that I wanted to really put out to the public. So maybe you guys can give me your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think, or maybe you think I'm totally wrong. Maybe you think it's going to end in a different way, but that's great. I want to have this discussion with all of you guys, so please leave your comment. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, you can thumbs down, but leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos. But until then, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again for watching.